I have with me here Alan Ormsby, who is the State Director of AARP. Hi Alan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me be here today.
Oh, it is really a pleasure. Just in talking with you for a few minutes beforehand, I can tell that you're fantastic at your job and really enjoy it.
Well, thank you.
That's great. Well, so will you tell me a little bit about AARP?
Yeah, so AARP is an organization that fights for and equips people to live their best lives, no matter what their age is. In Utah, we have about 211,000 members, so a lot of people are members of our organization. And we want people to know that no one's possibilities in their life should be limited by their age. So we're out there fighting for and advocating for people who are 50 plus, making sure that we are doing things in local communities. Just in the fall, we were here in Provo doing a session on fighting fraud and brain fitness. And those are some of the kinds of things we do in the community that might surprise people. We have a local presence in every state.
That is surprising, and I was not aware of all of the community initiatives that you did. You know, of course, my parents get the AARP magazine, and I flip through it sometimes too, and you know, very valuable content. Yeah. And I think it's really wonderful that you will serve that population because it's a very large population, isn't it?
Absolutely. In the United States, there's about just over 100 million people are over the age of 50. And we've got about 40 million members total throughout the entire country. So it is a fast-growing population. It's a population that has significant needs and desires. They all have real possibility dreams that they want to engage in, and we want to help them with that.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. Well, one of these community initiatives that I'm aware of is the Choosing Wisely campaign. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, Choosing Wisely is something that we're pretty excited to be a part of because healthcare really matters. And Choosing Wisely came out of an initiative that the Board of Internal Medicine created. And basically it was doctors saying to themselves, about 30% of all of the healthcare in the United States can be attributed to waste, whether that's duplicative tests or tests that didn't matter, procedures that didn't achieve the results that were wanted. So with 30% waste, doctors started looking around and saying, what can we do to improve the healthcare system?
30% waste, that is almost unfathomable when we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars.
That's right. The overall healthcare system is $2.1 trillion. So 30% waste is $700 billion a year.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, how many dollars would that be in all of our pockets, right?
That's right. That's what people want to know. How will this affect me?
Exactly. So that's besides, you know, maybe not paying for an extra test, what are some reasons that we would want to become involved in this Choosing Wisely campaign?
Well, the thing I love about it is it's really a dialogue between you and your healthcare provider. It's not a government mandate. It's not something that's being kind of forced down from the top. This is a campaign to educate consumers and educate doctors on how to have a conversation with each other about what is the need for this test. Are there other options? What else could I be doing? And so that intersection between where you're having a conversation with your doctor and your doctor is having a conversation with you, that's where the best healthcare takes place.
That's great. So if we were to implement, if I were to say to myself, I want to be part of this Choosing Wisely campaign, I would first go to my doctor and talk with him about waste.
Yeah, absolutely. What you're wanting to do is anytime that you have an opportunity to think through a medical procedure or a test, ask your doctor some simple questions. Ask him, you know, what is the purpose of this test? Are there other alternatives? Are there simpler, less costly options? And then finally at the end, definitely say, what is the cost of this? And are there less costly alternatives that would produce the same kinds of quality outcomes?
And that's very insightful because whenever I go into it, you know, if I have a problem, when I go to the doctor, my initial knee-jerk reaction is to say, I want everything done.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's right.
And so, you know, upon watching a video on your website, one thing that I did notice that was very persuasive to me as well was that these tests have side effects. That every procedure that is done, and you're the better one to explain this to me, but that was as a consumer, And as a patient, that was fairly persuasive to me that that would be a reason for me to not want to have everything under the sun done.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Not only is cost increased when we take advantage of what are perceived to be, I think, free tests, because you're not necessarily paying for them, your insurance company is paying for them. But there are some real risks, especially imaging. Every time you have a CT scan, every time you have an X-ray, you're subjecting yourself to radiation. And doctors know that those can be really high risk later on in life. I have a personal experience with this choosing wisely, where my son was he was in a lot of pain. His abdomen just hurt really bad. We went to the emergency room and they said, well, based on your son's age and everything else that's happening, it's almost certain that it's just a bad bout of constipation. So we'll take an X-ray and check it out. And they did and pretty much confirmed it. But then they came back to me and said, well, if we want to rule out absolutely everything, let's do a CT scan as well. I wish I would have known then what I know now, and I could have said, well, what's the advantages to that CT scan? Is that really necessary? What if we just wait 24 hours? Can we achieve the same results? And the answer would have been yes. I didn't know enough to ask those questions, and so we had a very expensive CT scan that really wasn't necessary.
That is a great example about why and why not to choose to do a test.
That's right.
So let's say I'm undergoing a procedure and I go into the doctor and I'm getting ready to decide whether or not I want to do that. What are a few things I should ask my doctor specifically?
I would start with the most basic question. Why are we doing this? What's the purpose of it? And have the doctor explain that. And the thing that's really neat about this is sometimes people think, well, I don't want to challenge my doctor. My doctor's the expert, and certainly your doctor is the expert. But we find that the research actually shows us doctors want to be engaged in these kinds of conversations. So start out, what's the purpose of this? And then ask another question, is there another alternative? Is there something else I could be doing? What if I don't do anything? What would happen then? And then finally, do ask that question, how much is this going to cost? Sometimes your doctor won't be able to tell you exactly what it's going to cost. But you can get a general idea from the doctor and then ask the follow-up question, is there a less costly option that would do the same thing and produce the same quality of results? Now
that to me is the linchpin in this, because if there are less costly options that may have a 98% accuracy rate rather than a 99% accuracy, that's fairly negligible, right?
That's right.
So I could see that is the direction that I am going to go in the future, and I appreciate you for educating me on the Choosing Wisely campaign, and I am definitely going to follow that as well.
Good.
So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, Alan, and thank you for providing so much benefit to those of us who are age 50 and older.